Hello, in this lecture you will learn how to insert the file into the database as well as how to retrieve it from it. So first of all, we will start with this simple console application and we will have two methods in it. Now this is a C# language, but you can upload files with any other language and any other driver as well. So in this case, we will try to do something a bit more interesting, and we will use only one connection for both procedures, both executions, both actions. So to do that, you will need to improve your connection string. First of all, of course, we need to go and install our driver. You go to add, you go to actually manage NuGet packages. You go there and you search for your system data SQL client like that, and you choose, again, you do not choose the pre-release, you go to latest stable and you click install, and it should install in a minute or in a second rather, and you click accept and it will soon be installed. Now that it is installed, we will simply create this little using statement. Let's do using system data SQL client. It will be easier to work this way. Now let's start with our main method, and let's create a connection. So let's do SQL or SQL connection, just like that. And let's call it simply con. Let's do con equals new SQL connection, and here we will need our string. Now I do already have my string prepared. You can copy it of course as well. So I will copy mine and paste it right here. Paste it here, and you might notice already a difference. So we have the usual, the server, so data source, and then you have initial catalog, you have user ID, password, trusted connection, but then also you have multiple active result sets set to true. And the reason for this is because we are doing two different procedures with the same one connection. If you do more than one, you have to put this in the string. Multiple active result sets equals true. So now that we have that out of the way, we can move on to actually opening it. You will open it once and you won't need to repeat that again. So you do con open as usual, just like that. And now we will do two different things. So remember, we need to have some file, and then we will need to read that file. We will need to insert that. So first of all, let's get a file path with which we will actually insert in the console. We won't do anything extremely difficult here, just a simple file path insertion in the console window, and you have your file from there. So let's do string file path, let's say, equals console, and that will be read line. We'll read line just like that, and you will simply copy the file path you desire, and it will be read later from that specific path. Now let's do another string, or rather let's wait and let's get into the insert. We will use the string because we will need to retrieve the ID. We will need to retrieve the ID for the retrieval. So let's do the insert, and let's do static string actually, and then let's call it simply insert like that. And we will need two things. We will need the connection, so you pass on the connection, you do con, and then you do string file path, let's call it. So we will pass on the connection and the file path as well. Now let's open that up and let's read the extension of the file. So remember, we need to insert the file name with the extension, but we cannot insert that specific file name, because if you insert two of those same files, it simply won't work and it will throw an error. The file name has to be unique in the database. So let's do variable, let's do file name, let's call it, even though it's not really what we're looking for, but let's do equals, and then let's do file path, and then you do split, which will split into an array. And we will split, first of all, we will split on the backslashes, on the backslash. This is just one backslash. The reason you see two of them is because we have to escape it. And let's move on and let's get that extension. So let's do ext equals, and then you do file path. Let's do file path like that. And then you need to actually create an index here. So let's finish it up. We can't do that. So the index is simply the count of those splits here. So the total length of this array minus 1, because we do need the index. So we need the last member of that array. So let's do file name, split, not split, rather length we need first of all, and then we do minus 1 actually first, minus 1, and then you do split again. See, why won't it split for us? Try that again. Split. Okay, so I have file path here. I actually need file name, the array we need. And then we get the string and we will split it again on a dot. So we get our extension, which we will pass through to the server, or to the database rather. And then we need a stream to get the file. So you do variable str, let's call it, that will be the stream, and then you do file open. Now we don't have a file, we need system.io, I believe. So yes, we need system.io. And then you open the file. So as you can see, you need the path. So the file path you need. File path. Let's see if we can find that. File path. Delete that. And you also need file mode. So file mode is simply open. Nothing else you need to add on there. And then you will actually need the byte array. You don't need the stream, you need the byte array. Now you could actually read through that file stream. It's not really difficult, but it makes a mess of things. So I will show you a little trick on how to do it a bit quicker perhaps. So first of all, you declare a new memory stream. Do mstr, let's call it, equals new memory stream. We won't find it, I believe. Memory stream. We have that. And you have that memory stream. Now, the reason we have memory stream is because memory stream has this method, extension method to array, which actually gives us the byte array for the stream. The file stream does not have that. That's why we will copy the contents of file stream, str, copy to. We will copy them to the memory stream, mstr. It will be a lot quicker and a lot more accurate actually. It's easier to make mistakes with those readers. So now we can move on to the actual command and actually try to insert it. So let's do SQL command, let's do like that, cmd equals new SQL command, and here we will need the procedure. So we will look for the procedure later. And now here we just need the connection. We need to pass on the connection. Now remember, the connection is already open, so you don't need to do anything like that here rather. And let's now move on to the most important part and the most critical part, which is CMD command type. Remember, if you are using stored procedures, you have to set the command type. CMD command type, not CMD actually, we need simple system data command type, and that will be stored procedure. That's it. We can move on, and we will need to add two variables, two parameters to that procedure. So let's do CMD parameters add with value, and that's gonna be the name, and then this one's gonna be the array. So to get the array, as I said before, you do mstr, the memory stream, and to array, and you get your byte array. You can see that it's very easy to do, saves a lot of time. And the second one will be the extension. So let's do CMD parameters add with value, and we're gonna add some name. Now this one, first one, is gonna be img. You can double check that in the stored procedure. And the second one is ext is gonna be, and that will be ext, our variable here, and index 1, the second element, because we split the file name, the existing file name, into two. So the first part is the actual name, the second part is the extension. And now we can execute. Let's do return, execute, actually CMD first of all, execute scalar. Now we are inserting, but remember, we did do the output, therefore we need the scalar to actually return that ID string. So you do toString, you always have to convert or cast the scalar return to your type. And now that we have that, we can actually move on further to the retrieval part. We will do them all at once, and then we will try them out at once as well. So let's do another static void retrieve, let's call it retrieve, like that. And we need the similar things, actually, not the same, not exactly the same. We do need the connection. So we have that, and we also need the file ID. So let's do FLID. Let's open it up. And what else do we need? We need the command. We need to declare that, and we need one parameter. And then in this case this will be a reader. So let's just copy these two things, the parameter and all that. And this parameter will be FLID, I believe. We will double check that. And then here is gonna be FLID, our variable, our string right here. Now let's move on. And what else do we need? We need to execute the reader. So let's do SQL data reader, let's call it RD as usual. And then let's do CMD execute reader. And now we need to declare two variables which we will print to the line. And the reason we are declaring them is because we will be using a reader, so we will be using a loop to read everything, and you can't declare variables in a loop, otherwise you won't be able to access them out of the loop. So let's do string ext equals string empty, let's do, or you could have an empty string, it doesn't matter. So later let's do byte and byte array, bt equals null. So the byte array will be our returned file, and extension, we returned extension. And now let's do our loop. Let's do while like that. See what happens, and as you rd read, and here we will have to read it. Now we only will have one value, but we still need to use the proper reading technique. So let's do bt equals, and this is actually quite interesting, this part. You could actually get bytes, but if you would get bytes, you would need to have this very complex reader. You would need to read it out, so you would need to loop through things and all that. We don't need to do that. We don't need to have too many variables. What I usually do, or rather what I always do with these byte arrays, I simply do rd get value. Instead of get bytes or something like that, you just get value. And you can in fact get any value like that, although the other values are easy to return in other ways, so I would not recommend it using for any other ones, just for the byte. For the byte, this is perfect. You just write down your index, and you need to also cast it. You do cast, and that is going to be byte array, of course. You cast it to byte array, and everything works perfectly. Now let's move on to the extension. It's going to be ext equals rd get string. Simply get string, and it's very easy to do. The index is 1. That's it. Now let's try to actually print it. So let's do console right line. Let's do right line, and just to save time, let's copy one of these. And first of all, let's get the byte length, bt length. Now we could, for testing purposes, also write it to the drive, to some directory, but it is rather pointless. It will take a lot of time, so if you want to do it, but I would not recommend even trying that. So let's move on, and let's do ext. We'll print the size of the byte array and the extension as well. So we have all that. We just need to run them in the main, and we will also need to put in these commands and double check the variables or the parameters. So here we need to do string file id equals insert connection. First of all, we need connection, and then we need file path. File, not access. This is wrong. Very wrong. We need file path. File path, we pass through, and we should be getting our ID, our newly inserted ID. And then you do retrieve, and let's pass through again the connection, and then the file ID. So that's file ID, FLID. Like that, we have all that. And just one final bit here. Let's try to do console read line, or console read key you could do, just so the console would not shut down. It usually doesn't do that, but just in case, let's not take that risk. So let's go to the Management Studio, and here let's go to the programmability, sort procedures, and let's see, we have get from test file table. Let's click on modify. Let's see what it says. It will open a file, and so we have get from test file table. You copy that, and the parameter is in fact FLID, so it's all fine. Now let's move on. Let's put it in here. And then the second one is insert into file table. Let's copy that as well. And the first variable, first parameter is img. The second one is ext. So let's insert that sort procedure name here, and we have img and ext. So without further ado, let's try to run it, try to launch it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, if it launches, if it works or not. Now, one thing I need to find, and I have it right here, is my path. So I just copy my path from the Windows Explorer, I paste it, and then I just write the file name, which is logo.png, and I can click enter now. It should work. Now it seems to have worked because we do get some file return, we do get our extension as well as the file size, which does actually match the size of the file that I have on my computer. However, if you are not sure, you can go to the Management Studio and you can find your table, and then on the table you can explore file table directory. Remember, we did the settings which allowed us to do that exploration. So as you can see, date modified, these are earlier ones, and now the last one, 3/31/2019, 5 AM, which is the time right now. And if I open that, I do see my logo file. And with that, we will conclude this lecture.